Very good evening to all of you. Welcome to today's webinar. I, Yash Malhotra, along with my classmates of current program of One Year PGP Program 2019 to 2020, and with our CEO, Mr. Anil Sachdev, and a founder as well, a man with a great vision, a thoughtful leader, a person who generally cares about each and everyone, for everyone. I remember a story about Mr. Sir, about Anil Sir, is that one, he cares about everyone such deeply that he remembers the name of each and every student from the first batch till the end of that batch. And today's consulting class, I remember, he remembers even the profession of everyone. Nandani is one of our classmates who also is a teacher. She started her, she was saying something, and Anil Sir just said, that's how a teacher speaks. So that's how he relates to everyone. Over to you, Anil Sir.
Well, welcome to this time and to this space. I'm extremely pleased that our students are hosting this webinar and they have invited me to be of service to you. I call myself the chief servant of the School of Inspired Leadership. And I think the whole idea is to be of service to the community and to the country. Here is what I believe, that every one of us has tremendous potential. And I think what we have created in SOIL is an initiative in which people can not only realize what their potential is, but then convert that into competence of the kind that they are wishing to develop so that they could realize their own dreams. This is the overall reason why we have created SOIL. And I just want to say a little bit of a story behind this. You see, many years back, I met a particular person whose father was the chairman of one of India's biggest companies, and he had retired. And when I just met him, he began to ask me, where are you from? Where is your father from? And I began to describe that my father came from Lahore. He said, okay, near Lahore, where did he stay? I said, there's a place called Gujranwala. He said, okay, that's very interesting, he asked. Then he said, what did your grandfather do? I said, he was the headmaster of a school. He said, what was the name of the school? So I said, name of the school is so-and-so. He said, is his name so-and-so? I said, yes. He said, he was my teacher. And then he just hugged me and there were tears in his eyes. And he said to me that your grandfather was the best teacher that we ever had. And he said to me that he transformed all our lives. And the way selflessly he used to work with students, the way he used to teach us not just the subjects he was teaching, but he would expose us to poetry, to the importance of the higher purpose, to spiritual self. So he went on to describe so much. And then I said to myself, what a wonderful gift as a teacher. My grandfather was not a rich person, but he left an indelible mark on the lives of so many people, and one of his students became chairman of one of India's biggest companies. And he was honoring his teacher from his early school, where his whole life was shaped. At that time in my heart, there was always a desire that one day we will create a school that will have teachers who deeply care and who will take responsibility for teaching students not just what they need to know to get a good job, but they would actually be much better human beings than what they themselves thought they were capable of becoming. And they would always have this strong desire in their heart to serve and to achieve higher purpose. And that's how I feel very blessed that finally in 2008, 2009, we got the opportunity to realize our dream, and the dream that many of us had. Along with me, there are other co-founders who had similar vision. And we ended up creating the School of Inspired Leadership, which is an absolutely new experiment in higher education. I think the experiment has now achieved its first 1 decade of success. And I asked myself the question, what have we learned in the last 10 years? And when we wrote the vision collectively for SOIL, there was one defining moment for writing the vision, which I would like to read out. It is very much closely imprinted in my mind. We wrote in the description of our vision, 10 years from now, when we look at our SOIL students, their families would celebrate their being SOIL students, because they would say that after attending the SOIL program, they have become much more loving, generous, and kind members of the family. Number two, the community in which they live. They would say, thank God a SOIL student lives here because he is the person who takes responsibility for all the activities in the community to serve the community. We visualize that if a SOIL student travels in the metro, he would get up and give the seat to the elderly, to the needy. If he sees somebody doing something wrong, he would gently correct the person and say, why don't we do something right? And so on and so forth. So we described our vision not in terms of the fact that we will graduate students who would become the most, sort of high salary earning individuals or who would rise to the very top of companies. To us, that was important, but not enough. What was most important was how they would turn out in the journey of life and how they would take responsibility for serving the larger whole. When I reflect on this, I feel a sense of deep gratitude and satisfaction that many of our students worldwide, and almost 37% of our 1100 alumni are working overseas. And every time I go, like I was in London a few months back, all the alumni came to just see me and just to see what they are doing there and the responsibility they have towards the community in which they live. Similarly, I went to Australia, a number of alumni came to meet me. And they also talked about stories, not just about how well they are doing professionally, but how they are responsible members of the community, how they have taken the work, for example, of social innovation in soil to the next level in the community. I think I have a deep sense of gratitude that our alumni have turned out to be the kind of leaders we were dreaming about. The second thing I want to talk about is that the amount of impact our alumni have made in large workplaces. Just the other day, I heard about Sapan Gandhi, who's in Europe, who works with CIPLA, who's gone into a senior leadership role. I think this was the 5th promotion he got after joining CIPLA. And now he's heading a certain country in the market in Europe. And what a wonderful gift. When he joined, nobody knew about soil. But now he's known by the success he achieves in the company and by the values that he displays. And he's called to industry forums all over Europe where he's a keynote speaker. You can talk about Shubhika Rana, who is a senior leader in the HR function with Kohler in Europe. And here is somebody who, within a month of joining, came to me and said, Anil sir, I am under tremendous pressure because while applying for soil, I also applied for a top European school. I have got admission there with a scholarship. My father, who's a doctor, is telling me that, this is a very lucky break for you. You should go to this top international university. You should not study in this new school called soil. It was our first batch. She came to talk to me. I said, then why are you feeling conflicted? Because Shubhika said, in the first 1 month, I have discovered I belong here. I said, Shubhika, go for it. If you think you belong here and that's what is appealing to you, go and tell your dad. I'm not going to the mainstream European school. I want to stay in this new experimental school. And Shubhika stayed. She joined Kohler. She's got several promotions. She got a posting in the US. Now she's in Europe doing exceedingly well. I want to talk about Nidhi Govil, who came to us from IBM. She took study leave to come and study with us. She was hired back by IBM Consulting. She got several promotions. And then she joined Accenture, where she's got several elevations. What is most satisfying about Nidhi, whom we have chosen as the most outstanding alumnus this year out of all the 10-year batches, is because what her colleagues said about Nidhi. She said she's a multi-talented person. She always raises her hand when it comes to doing initiatives in Accenture. She always cares deeply for everybody. And the way she includes everybody in the process and the way she also works for the social responsibility of Accenture. So I can go on and on, talk about so many alumni whom I'm very proud of. So our alumni are definitely making impact, not only in the community, but also professionally in large workplaces. When it comes to those who chose to walk the lonely path of becoming entrepreneurs, I still remember the time when Vasu, who's from the second batch of soil, had this dream about doing something for the farmers in this country. He first from campus joined HT Media. He waited for some time, maybe by the time he would have paid back his loans. And he and his close friends, 4 of them, created this whole venture called Ninja Cart. Ninja Cart is the first marketplace which takes the product directly from the farmer to the consumer. And they have eliminated all the middlemen who try to exploit the farmer. And they have now received over $100 million of 3 rounds of funding. They now employ hundreds of people. And they are truly making a difference to Indian society. I can talk about Mayank Solanki, who is from the first batch of Soil, who runs this large NGO called Yuva, and where he teaches soft skills on values-based education to hundreds of youth in the country. I want to talk about Sitesh, whom we honored for the Social Entrepreneurship Award. Sitesh, after getting a campus job in National Dairy Development Board, NDDB services, he was getting a well-paid salary. He came to me and said, Anil sir, something has changed permanently in my heart. I have realized while being in Soil, that I want to give back to society and I want to go and serve the poorest people in the country. I am going back to Bihar, to Bhagalpur, to the poorest of the poor, and I want to educate the poor children there. He's created for the last 8 years a center called Laksha. The other day he came to meet our students and said he wakes up at 5 a.m. every day. He makes sure that he prepares his own food, gets ready. In fact, 5 o'clock is his first class. I'm sorry, he gets up at 3:30 a.m. every day. And he works till non-stop till 8 p.m. And he educates the children. He teaches them maths. He teaches them special skills. So they do well in their board exams and they excel. And this boy does that completely selflessly because he wants to make a difference to the poorest of the poor. I can talk about so many other such alumni who have become entrepreneurs and even social entrepreneurs. So I think our alumni have made major impact. The second thing I want to talk about is how do they trust us? There are many business schools in India. You know, they say to us, we get values-based education, we get good education, but also financially it makes sense because on an average, they are earning 4 to 5 lakhs after working for a couple of years in industry. When they come to us, they invest 14 to 15 lakhs on their education, out of which 18% goes to the government as GST, remaining comes to Soil. And from this investment that they make, on an average, the students earn in the business leadership program about 10 lakhs. The HR program is slightly lesser. So they are able to get a return on investment, which is extremely good. It compares with the best in the country, whether you compare to ISB, Great Lakes, any of the other schools. So I feel that not only are they getting extremely good education, they're also getting very fine return on investment. And lastly, personal transformation. At the end of every year, there is an anonymous survey we do our students. On each of the factors which defines leadership, how do they report they were when they joined Soil and how much change do they notice in themselves? This is an anonymous survey. This is not based on any names. Therefore, they are supposed to talk completely confidentially and tell us honestly how much transformation. I am so pleased to know year after year, all the students report a significant transformation in themselves, in the way they deal with people, in the way they deal with themselves, in the way they look at how to raise up their game, in the way they have become more creative, in the way they have become more socially responsible, in the way they have become more aware of their own selves and their strengths. So there is such a lot to talk about in terms of personal transformation. So I think last thing I want to talk about here before I would invite you to ask me questions and answers, and I would be happy to give answers, is the biggest secret of Soil besides its wonderful alumni and students are our extremely fine and dedicated faculty. See, many years back, I met one of the world's leaders in education. He's created a worldwide organization called Teachers Beyond Borders. Teachers Beyond Borders. He said, every teacher teaches who she is, irrespective of what she teaches or what he teaches. That means whether you are teaching maths or you are teaching engineering or you are teaching management, you always teach about yourself. And we are very blessed at the quality of faculty that we have managed to attract. Let me talk about Professor Nitika Batra, our Dean. She is a gold medalist, top of the class in Shriram College, top of the class in Delhi University, recruited in campus by SBI Capital Markets, a high quality, high achieving investment banker. She gets married, she goes to Pittsburgh, she and her husband come back, open an investment bank. She makes a choice. She says, I want to invest time in raising my kids well, but I also want to go and give back to the young leaders in the country. So she starts teaching in academics. And then we discover her through a company called Dabar, who says she's an outstanding finance teacher. And she comes to us as adjunct faculty, and then we hire her as our full-time chair. And now she's our dean. What a wonderful gift Nitika brings, because she walk into any senior leadership role and earn 10 times more money than what we pay her. She does that because of choice, because she is extremely dedicated to the work that she does. I want to talk about Professor Atindra Bhattacharya, who earned his stripes in the hardcore sales function in working with companies like Amul, where we had the distinction of working for many years with Dr. Kurian, the legendary leader. Atindra Bhattacharya chose academics because he felt, once again, an inner desire to do something with the young people in the country. And you know, as somebody said the other day, his room is like the adda. Students will come and sit there, they will bare their soul, they will talk about their dreams, and Atindra will very patiently encourage them and listen to each one of their. It's as if he is dreaming with them. And there are so many students who have set up small and big entrepreneurship organizations because all the dreams are born in that adda of Atindra Bhattacharya's room. And he's such a dedicated teacher. He invests so much of his personal time in looking after the alumni. That's why this year he named him as the chair of the alumni relations. I can talk about Dr. Debabrata Das, one of the most outstanding professors in analytics. If you look at the depth of his knowledge, he's one of the finest faculty members in analytics in the whole country. I can talk about Arjya Chakrabarti, who in our HR class by the students is considered first as a friend, then as a teacher, and then as a facilitator of learning, who has deep commitment to every student in the class, and so on and so forth. So I think we are very fortunate, and we have, every year we report scores to our board and to students and into potential students, how our faculty and the courses are rated. I'm extremely happy to state that for the last 10 years, consistently on a 5-point scale, our ratings are well above 4. And, you know, between 4.3, 4.4, 4.5, and some faculty get 4.7, 4.8, including one faculty member who consistently got a 5. So I think this is exceptional by the kind of, and remember, the students rate this confidentially. We don't know what students are rating us as. And so I think this is the last thing I wanted to cover. So to summarize, our vision of setting up SOIL to develop leaders who make the world better. I feel a deep sense of gratitude that it has turned out to be true. Our 1100 alumni are all over the world living this dream. Our alumni are making specific, tremendous impact I talked about. Return on investment on education is one of the best in the country. Transformation students have is absolutely wonderful to see. And lastly, all that is because of the extremely dedicated teachers who always teach who they are, who always put students first. And so with this, I just wanted to share that this is what I wanted to talk about SOIL. But I'm sure many of you have questions. I would be very happy to take them.
Thank you, sir. That was a great experience shared by you. We have few questions. One is from Vaibhav Singh. I would like to read it out for you. He's asking, sir, what keeps you so much energized and motivated?
What keeps me so much energized and motivated? I think when you are doing wonderful work, when you are with wonderful students, wonderful colleagues, and when you have a larger vision in your own heart. I learned very early that the world's best leaders are the world's best followers. To me, the cause of making education, which makes a difference, which makes leaders that transform the world, is a very worthwhile cause. And in the service of that cause, I want to call myself as the most dedicated teacher and most dedicated administrator in my own eyes. I get up every morning, I travel the world, I come next day, I come at 3 o'clock in the morning from a flight, I'm in campus at 8:30. Reason for that is because I look forward to my work every day. I look forward to working with people, working on this worthwhile vision. To me, it's not just a way of doing something. You know, I put all my life savings into soil. The salary I pay myself, I earn it back through doing consultancy for industry. I keep doing work with the best companies all over the world. And therefore, right from the day one till today, I have not taken a single rupee out of soil. Whatever salary I have paid myself has been earned more than enough by the consulting income. And so I feel that this is a tremendous opportunity to co-create something. And that's what keeps me going, because the power lies in the cause in the service of which I feel energized.
Okay. So, sir, another question is from Vishwajit. So, sir, he is asking, how can we differentiate Great Lakes and soil?
How can we differentiate?
Great Lakes and soil.
Actually, I know Great Lakes right from the beginning. Professor Bala Balachandran is a good friend. And the other day, I also met the two leaders here in Gurgaon who are running this place now, including the ones who look after, the Great Lakes, Great Learning. I think Great Lakes is trying to do an American model of education, providing what they call business excellence. And I think they are doing a good job, especially with their new initiative on Great Learning, which is online education. They are putting a lot of effort in that and a lot of resources in that. I think Great Lakes has done a good job. We are completely different from Great Lakes because our vision is different. Their vision is on focus on business excellence. Our vision is on focus on inspired leadership. So we are trying to develop leaders who make a difference. And they are trying to develop students who are in the mainstream business become better at understanding business. We are saying understanding business and business excellence is not enough. We believe that the larger vision is more important. So actually we are two different categories. But if you look at comparisons in tangible terms, students will say, how much is my fees? How much is my average placement? In that sense, the ratio between fees and placement of Great Lakes and soil is similar. So I would say that there is no difference in terms of ROI. There's a big difference in the terms of the kind of students who get attracted to us. And I think the kind of vision we have and the kind of transformation our students stand for is not in the same category as Great Lakes is a more mainstream business school. We are a unique business school, which is like a boutique business school, which is trying to define its own path. For your information, we have started a worldwide movement of some enlightened business schools. I serve on the global board of Shizuoka University, set up by Dr. Tomo Noda, who was at Harvard. He's a dear friend of the Harvard Dean, Professor Noria, who introduced us to him. Similarly, the IESC Business School in Barcelona. The three of us got together, and last year in Barcelona, we hosted a meeting of 40 educators from around the world, where we said, let's create a new league of business schools, like an Ivy League in America. Let's create a new league which is talking about holistic education, which is talking about whole person-based education, which is not measuring success in terms of how much salary their students are getting, but it is looking at success and what impact our students are making in the world. And all three of our schools have a very similar vision and philosophy. And that's why we held that meeting in Barcelona amongst all the top educators. Next year, we are going to host that meeting in Tokyo. So we are trying to create a new association of business schools which are looking at making the world better, not just looking at producing people for business roles, which the mainstream business schools do.
Thank you, sir. There are many questions regarding the placements and all that I would request the attendees that will be answered by the students over here. There are direct questions regarding, sir. One of the questions, or I would say it's about you specifically. Subramaniam is saying it's heartwarming to know the management of UVA, the NGO, has a soil alumni. It was an NGO I was associated during my engineering days. Another statement by Shilpi is saying that the SIP program is the one that I'm attached to soil, and I really love to work with soil and get placed in soil just because of the SIP program. So what do you think about the SIP program over here?
You know, the social innovation program is a very critical part of our education because we believe that as you go in your leadership journey further and deeper, your emotional intelligence is far more important than just intellectual intelligence. And this EQ, as it is called, which is a kind of self-awareness, the ability to listen, the ability to empathize and to show compassion to others, this is something which is acquired behavior. It is not something you are born with. Which means based on the kind of teachers you have had in your early ages, the kind of parenting you've got, the kind of family you were raised in, you become better at emotional intelligence and empathy and compassion. But it can be developed at any age. We believe that in the 1 year at SOIL, this is one part of intelligence we will develop because you can actually do so. Creativity can be developed in a short time. Emotional intelligence can also be developed in a short time. But analytical intelligence is very difficult to improve. So we focus on what we can take responsibility for. And by social innovation program, when students work with NGOs 1 day in a week, and they spend, let's say, 25 days, which is like 200 hours of their time in the NGO. The NGOs are small organizations. They don't have enough resources. They don't even have enough people. And then when it comes to this whole aspect of saying, how do we make a difference? They have many challenges. When our students work with them on those challenges, they develop a sense of empathy for the cause those NGOs stand for. They realize how they have to take responsibility without having authority, how they have to do more for the benefit of more with less resources. This teaches them the true meaning of compassion. Mind you, not all students are completely comfortable doing that. Every year we have some students who say, how is this relevant to my work in industry? Or how working with a particular NGO will make a difference? And you know, it's not as if every student welcomes working in an NGO in a difficult situation like that. But I say something to you, even while studying with us, even though some of them sometimes crib about it, many years later, when they pass out, they meet us, they say, this was one of the best experiences we had. Because of that, we became better people. And so I think that's something which is quite wonderful. Yes. Yeah. There are many more questions coming up. Yeah.
So we have one last question.
Yeah.
About by Shubhamay. Sir, how much we can learn about business analytics to cope up with the current market requirement from SOIL?
Our analytics program is a very well-designed program. Dr. Das has done a super job in kind of understanding what the best industry requires, the company requires. See, there are 5 dimensions to the analytics program. First, analytics has to begin with teaching students the power of observation and listening through mindfulness by watching their stakeholders. That's the first step in design thinking. We teach the course on design thinking, and students have to learn to get out of their own biases, to observe the way the world is, not the way you are. And so that's the first part. The second part is when you are observing and you are doing, and similarly you do digital observation by looking at the kind of interface people are having on the internet, the digital sort of footprint that people have on the internet. By observing all that and large amount of data points, analytics helps you to make sense out of that. Then analytics helps you to make better quality decisions, which are not based on biases and opinions, but based on information that empowers people to take better quality decisions. So people are not influenced by authority flows, they are influenced by information. See, Warren Buffett, the world's richest man, once made a statement, in God I trust, for everything else I want data. You will never influenced by people's opinions and biases. I think that's what the analytics program does. It teaches people how to take better decisions and improve the decision quality, which means 6 dimensions: how to define the right problem, how to collect meaningful and reliable information, how to analyze the information to generate multiple alternatives, how to assess the risk of each alternative and the logic for taking decisions, how to make trade-offs between one decision and the other, and finally, how to use the analytics to prepare people for implementation. So it has multiple dimensions. And I think the entire program helps in helping people to take better decisions so that they can solve real problems in the world. I think there are some students who are also asking questions on comparison with ISP. I saw some questions floating around, which you will answer that perhaps. ROI with ISP. Did you see that question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can answer it yourself. Is there any other question? There is one person who said before you end, my question should be answered. Okay, once Subramaniam is asking this question, particularly, I'm choosing to take that question to say a difference between a 1-year program and a 2-year program. And he's saying people tell him a 1-year program is not that attractive and so on and so forth. I think that's not true. I think our students can give you the statistics. There are 2 years program and 2 years program. There are over 2,000 schools in the country, right? If you're referring to the topmost 2 years program like IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Bangalore and some of these institutes, or even XLRI, they are highly reputed program. They will obviously, if you gain admission there, and if you do reasonably well, you will get a good sort of return on your investment. So that there is no doubt. But then there are a large number of 2 years programs which are in the what we call the mid-range, where the fees may be 10, 12 lakhs and the salary may be 5, 6 lakhs. There are a large number of such schools, right? And there are many schools, I don't want to take their names. And there are some 2 years programs which are in the second category. For example, the MDI, for example, the SP Jain, or for example, the IMT Ghaziabad, these kinds of programs. I think they also over a period of time have developed some reputation and they are doing well. So if you take the top 20, 25 schools which have established a reputation, and then you compare the rest, I think the average 2-year program does not compare favorably with the good quality 1-year programs in the country, whether it is SOIL or it is Great Lakes or it is ISP. All of them have far better ROIs compared to 95% of the 2-year programs in the country. Yes, the top 5% of the 2-year programs, certainly they perform better because it's not because they are 2-year, it is because they have established the brand of high quality education over 30 years. And that's what is putting them in that category. But by the way, all of them, including IIMs, have started a 1-year program in the last 10 years. And I think almost all of them have also started a 1-year program, except that some of them take in 1-year program people with more experience than we take. So it's not a like-to-like comparison, but I think it's worth studying the 1-year program of these schools as well. Any other question you want me to answer before I exit?
No, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time, sir. We will take forward from here.
Thank you. I just want to tell all the potential students that enjoy the SOIL experience of admissions to understand who you are. Get in touch with any of our alumni or students, which makes them take responsibility. Now, one student is still saying, YVO 1907, my question was left unanswered. What's the question he's talking about?
He has a question regarding.
What is that question?
Sir, I admire the social emphasis of SOIL, but if your focus is on society more than the pay package, why not target only social and non-profit companies?
Well, that is not true. We are not targeting that. We are saying that the mainstream large private and big businesses need to have a heart of a social kind. You should read all the recent research out about how all the big global companies, including Unilever, including Schneider Electric, including many of the companies that are consortium members, have signed up to the triple bottom line vision. They are all interested in the social sector. They want to train all their senior leaders into social innovation programs. When we host our global leadership program worldwide, like we will do next month in the Silicon Valley, these are senior leaders from all over the world that we host. One of the things they are most attracted to is the component of social innovation in the program for them. So first of all top businesses are giving tremendous importance to the social part and giving back and the corporate citizenship role of making the world better, because gone are the days when they could focus only on their bottom line and thrive. That form of capitalism has completely failed. I would request you to read the book by Raghuram Rajan about the failure of capitalism. And I think you will then understand why America is completely concerned about that. And therefore, capitalism in its present form has failed. Therefore, we need a more social face. We are teaching social innovation not because we are developing people for the social sector. We are developing people for the mainstream business sector, but people who are more socially responsible. And we believe that gives them a competitive advantage. That's what makes them better leaders. And that's why the large number of companies come year after year to hire from SOIL, because they like students to have the social bias.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Now, moving forward, we'll be starting with the introduction of my batchmates. Over to you, Tushar.
Okay. So hi, I am Tushar from the current batch of DLP Marketing. Basically, before joining SOIL, I carried a work ex of 4 years into IT industry. I was into business development. So at that point of time, I got to know about the unique curriculum of SOIL and its 1 year business leadership program, which was one of its unique kind and apart from the regular MBA. So I decided to join SOIL. So far, the journey has been great. Currently, I am based in Newgen Software as a strategic consultant. Over to you, Ankur.
Thanks a lot, Tushar. So, hello everyone, my name is Ankur. I'm from the current batch of 1920. I had a previous experience of around 15 months with L&D Technology Services, which was into pre-sales and marketing. From sales and marketing, I completely took a transition to analytics cohort, and I started studying analytics over here. So here at SOIL, the experience has been entirely transformational for me. I have learned a lot of things, not only gained the industry experience, industry knowledge, but also I have grew myself as an individual, which will, I think, help me and give you a competitive advantage in the corporate industry. So this is not only help me gain knowledge about the various branches and various subjects that are being taught, but an overall exposure to the industry because various leaders have been visiting SOIL. Currently, I have got placed with Infosys as a senior consultant. This has been a really delighting experience for me this 1 year, and I'm proud to be a SOIL again.
Hello everyone, I am Krati Gupta. Currently, I am pursuing my MBA in HR, and before joining SOIL, I was working with TCS, and I have work experience of 4.5 years. So while I thought of grooming my career, I was looking for B schools. At that point in time, I came across SOIL, and a friend of mine told me that SOIL is an institute that looks for an holistic development in an individual. But in that point of time, I was not able to connect. After joining SOIL, what I found was, apart from my knowledge base, what SOIL works on is my behavioral transformation. And that adds to my holistic development. It is a year of transformational journey. Over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Rohit Duggal. I have 6 years of work experience before joining SOIL, out of which last 4 years were with Amazon. I worked as a risk analyst there. While I was working with Amazon, I really wanted to have a taste of how being a manager feels like, and how the management works. And then I tried a lot, but something like that was not happening, and I really wanted a career switch, a career jump. So I decided to do an MBA. I decided to do an MBA, and when I was looking for all the colleges, and in terms of every aspect, when I looked, I liked the curriculum, I liked the ROI, and everything looked good here. So yeah, and then I joined SOIL as into a marketing cohort, and currently I'm placed with Genpact as a senior manager operations.
Good evening, everyone. As you all know, my name is Yash Malhotra, and my journey is like a traditional old journey of any engineering student. I did my engineering from computer science background. Then I moved to an IT industry, that to TCS. I had 3 years of work experience. I worked in business intelligence department and multiple departments like automation testing and all those things that we generally do in IT sector. But over that period of time, I always wanted to move into some leadership roles or uplift my careers. And I have always been in my past experience taking up responsibilities very well. So I wanted to lift my career. So during this period of time, I was preparing for my MBAs and all those things. Then I got to know about SOIL, this unique program of business leadership program of SOIL that we do over here. This is one of the unique courses because every other college has a traditional MBA course, but this curriculum was quite dynamic and I just sat for the interview. And my only objective was to build a skill that is much more required, not a degree only. Because when you get into the market, it's not the degree that matters, it's the skills that will make you lead you forward. So SOIL over here, I would tell you, I am the president of Student Council. And that opportunity has given me a lot of it to grow myself and understand the leadership roles that are over here. So that is one of the reasons SOIL has been a very fruitful journey for me till, from the start till the end. Here I am and discussing about SOIL and taking up your questions. So let's take up some of the questions.
Yes. So I would like to answer a question about question from Pranay, who is asking how are the placements for HR cohort. So I would like to answer that only 1/4 of the batch is left, and which will get closed within a week or 2 at max. And the companies in which HR students are placed are Genpact, Accenture, then Anand, Mahindra and Mahindra, some of the leading companies that you know. Thank you.
So, like Ankita has asked a question of SIP. So, Ankita, it's not the only one vertical where the SIP or an NGO focus on. So, we used to have NGOs of different verticals who visits our campus. So, like the NGOs related to green management or the like you said, taking care of the old age homes, or the NGOs related to healthcare domain, or the survivors of cancer, or the rape survivors, and also the safety who provides safety awareness to the factory laborers. So these kind of NGOs used to visit our campus. So you had the choice. You can, depending on your interest, you can select any of the NGO and you can decide to work with them for a year. Hope I answered your question.
So one of the unique questions that I came across was like what kinds of roles we get in marketing, finance, and analytics. So let me tell you over here, we all 5 have landed in different roles in different companies. Talking about Tushar as a strategic sales consultant, Ankur an IoT consultant, I myself business analyst in Newgen, the HR consultant, Rohit Duggal as a senior manager in Genpact. So the roles are very diverse over here. Like today also we have project management roles, like business marketing roles in HCS and then pre-sales roles in different other companies. Talking about the HR, we have different HR roles, strategic SR role and super daily. Like n number of roles are there in the multiple companies. Like during this week, by the time end of the year when the college is about to get started for the new batch, we still have this 5 companies that have for next this week. And today itself, Accenture came into picture, and we had a placement process going on for Accenture. And Accenture, I guess someone asked me what are the offering packages over here. So let me tell you, today we are a company Accenture that is offering a package from 10 to 28 lakhs, and that is a big amount. I would suggest, like some of the people are saying, how can you compare the examples from one of the companies, MBA colleges? Like it's less package. So package is not an issue, I would suggest. So
yeah. So I'll take this question where someone asked, someone has less than 60% in 10th class, but in 12th and graduation is more than 70%, and he's asking how would it affect at the time of placements. To give you an answer, I myself don't have more than 60% in graduation, but I have in 10th and 12th. And there are a lot of companies which come with criteria, but there are others who don't come with criteria as well. Despite having less than 60% in graduation, I sat in, I had the option to sit in various companies. In Genpact also, as I mentioned just now, I got placed in Genpact despite the percentage criteria, and it was a package of good around 14 to 16 lakh package. We got a bracket. As of now, we haven't got the final offer, but the bracket which we have got now, as of now, is 14 to 16 lakhs. And I have the constraint as well, so that won't be an issue, I would say.
So I would like to take up this question by Subramaniam. He asked, I have 4 years of work experience in the manufacturing industry. With this program, I'm looking to transform myself to a marketing and/or a business consulting role. So I would like to understand the placement opportunities for those roles and average package. Okay, so Subramaniam, I myself had experience of 4 years and in L&T, which was not an IT role, not a manufacturing role, but it was some kind of mixed kind of role, which was for pre-sales for industrial products. So I took up this course and it has really transformed me, and it was an entirely transformational journey as well. You will get opportunities to sit in a number of companies, be it IT companies, manufacturing companies. So it's all about you, what opportunities you want to take up. I was in L&T as a pre-sales and marketing person. And from there onwards, I have switched my career to an IoT consultant, and which are two very different roles. And now I have landed here, and I will be serving a very different aspect of the industry. So this is, as you were expecting a frank reply, this is the frank reply that I am giving you, and this has been my experience here at SOIL. So hope this answers your question, Subramanian.
Adding to what Ankur said, so you write in your first line, so there are students mix of 2 years and 6 years. So that is the unique quality of SOIL. So here you get to interact with people of different age groups and different industry workings. So here the students would be of minimum 2 years of work ex also, and the students of 8 years of work ex also. So your peer-to-peer learning hence increases, and the companies which visits the campus hence have the bands in their job descriptions. So like from 2 to 3 years, they will be offering some CTC. From 3 to 4 years, they will be offering some CTC or designations or roles. Or for more than 4 years, they'll be offering some CTC. So it depends on case to case and depends on companies to companies. So it will not be a problem at all whether you had a manufacturing background and you want to switch to IT or a consulting, or you want to continue with the same industry vertical company.
So moving ahead, I want to take Shivani's question, which is how does the PGP HR LP program at SOIL sets itself apart from other MBA HR programs? So Shivani, I just want to say that here in SOIL we have HR labs, simulation programs are given more importance. So here we focus on experiential learning instead of just the bookish knowledge. You go visit fields, you do live projects with companies on recruitment, on how PMS is done, and then how digitalization is changing HR completely, how analytics is impacting HR and improving how HRs work. From being a transactional role in HR, now we are moving towards transformational role. Also AI, how artificial intelligence is enhancing HR. You must be aware of chatbots like Amber, Hyphen, and Yammer. How these HR chatbots are made. We have classes on digital transformation and workplaces also. So this sets HR program in SOIL apart from other B schools. I hope that I answered your question.
So I like to take one of the questions. I'll insist by Pidy. Can I know your say on the recession and would it affect any of the placement this year? So this is something, this very question we had on the day when we got to know the news of recession, and there's a cyclic recession going on. The companies will be not coming to the campuses and all. See, I'll tell you, it may have impacted, we don't know. we all got placed in a good company.
In good companies and the roles
That
of
is-
our choice.
Yeah, roles of our choice.
Yes.
See, recession is something, downfall is in manufacturing background, some other companies, but globally we are growing, and India has always been like as
On a growing curve.
shielding the recession on their corporate industries and everywhere. So to be really honest, it has not impacted till now. You never know the future, but yes, till this year, I'll be really honest, we have not been impacted.
Yes.
Specific to soil also. So like someone asked, so how many students have been placed in, what kind of packages we got. So specific to recession also. So currently our 75% of the batch is placed, and rest 25% of the batch will surely get placed in Feb. So surely in every week we are getting around 2 to 3 companies visiting the campus. So today also, like we said, Accenture, which offered the highest CTC till now, in the recession period, they are offering maximum up to 28 lakhs in soil. So recession is just, not a deciding factor to get a job in an MBA college.
So adding to what Tushar was saying, and somebody asked that apart from IT companies, what other companies visit soil? So apart from IT companies, we have companies from manufacturing industries like Anand is there. Then we had Mahindra and Mahindra, Volvo, Eicher. And then apart from these companies, we also have some unicorn startups, which are like MMT, Make My Trip has come, consulting firms are there who came and recruited students.
It's across the industry verticals, whether it's pharma, whether it's IT, consulting, or civil, or BFSI. So all the industry verticals come to campus. Of course, so in India, the number of population of IT candidates is much more. So in any MBA school, whether you go to IIM Ahmedabad or ISB, so the IT companies would be more, and rest of the companies would be less. But the companies across all verticals, it's you used to visit to the campus, and you used to get your preference, like in which industry vertical you want to go and you want to apply for that company.
Okay, I'll take this question. Someone from aviation industry having close to 31 months of experience has asked this question, and they have opted for marketing as elective. Okay, so well, you don't have to really worry about anything like that. I myself, I don't have any, like I was a risk analyst before joining SOIL, and the profile which I got now is a senior manager profile in operations in Genpact. So what I would say there are multiple opportunities which you get while studying in the college, which will help you and give you really the experience, the live experience of how the things are there on the other side. For example, I work, like we have a flagship event called ILC, which happens in every December. And this time we did an event in Leela Hotel, and I was handling the entire operations of that event. And even though I had no prior experience of how operations happen in an organization, ILC, when I did that event, I got the exposure of my life. I learned about every aspect, every department which works in an event like that. And also we have an internship which happens during the course, 6 weeks of internship where we work in different industries of, which is related to our cohort, and we gain experience. So overall, I would say that you get to learn a lot of things which is required for you during the placements and also while working in the organization.
Just adding to what Rohit said, I will give you a live example of a student named Anjum of last year. He had served in the Merchant Navy for around 4 years. After that, he had quit his role. Similar to you were in aviation and he was in Merchant Navy. But after leaving Merchant Navy, he joined SOIL for the 1-year course in marketing. And then he got placed with Aditya Birla as a sales and marketing specialist. And he's the deputy manager of his office place. So it has been an entire switch of career from Merchant Navy to a sales and marketing specialist.
Right, you can take the example of our current batch student also. One of our class batchmates, she was in HR. So she was having an experience of teaching, and now she got placed in Genpact into HR as a senior manager HR.
Adding to what Tushar was saying, there's a question about from Ankita, who says that I don't have coding experience or knowledge. So Ankita, I want to tell you that if you take up analytics as your specialization, you will learn coding in R, like Python, the languages, about big data in soil itself. We have classes on all these topics and various other topics also. And it's not what you did in your past. It's all about your skill set. See, this is a VUCA world where we keep on changing our roles, our jobs, our profiles, we keep on enhancing. So it's all about how open you are to learn new things. It's all about unlearning and then relearning.
So, one of the person, Sandeep, has asked, how's your life at SOIL? So, let me give you a story about myself and the people out here. How's the journey of SOIL looks like? So, starting 1 month of SOIL, and we have a lot of activities. We have like foundation courses going on, too much of hectic schedule. People who have that thing in mind. So, let me warn you, it will be a roller coaster ride. But there comes a story over there. When we start the college, we are not aware how to deal with it. But the college and life teaches us, because we have diverse profile, 100 batch of 100 students, and we need to know each and every one. We have elections, we have clubs and committees. I myself was the president of student council. I had to go through election, do my campaigning. That was one of my experience. Then I have taken on multiple responsibilities of alumni connect, then brand building of SOIL, myself and other people. The marketing of college handled from the student from Tushar, and the operations by Rohit. Ankur has been taking the social media content, and Prati herself is a sport coordinator over here. She, for your information, she's a national sport 100-meter runner. So that is one of the things. So the college here gives you multiple people with a diverse profile, and you get to learn from each of them. The peer learning over here is tremendous, I would tell you. And apart from that, I got the placement on day one. I sat in the first company, I just cracked it. And the reason because of that was being the president or taking up the responsibility over here, I just showcased it over there. And that very moment I felt I have done my MBA life. So that's how I guess everyone's life has been over here. It's not the learning, in-class learning only, the outside class learning is also one of the things that people have gained over here.
Exactly. Like I would totally agree with them. I would say 70, there would be around 30 to 40% of knowledge gaining and close to 60% of peer-to-peer learning which will be happening. Even the professors emphasize a lot on this. And with the interest of time, we would only take few more questions regarding the hostel facilities. I guess it's very important to clear that as well.
So the hostel facility is very nearby.
Yeah, the hostel is close by. It's around 1 kilometer from the college, and it is separate. There is a separate hostel for boys and girls,
with all the facilities, you get a fully furnished room with AC, TV, fridge, everything.
Yeah, everything is there.
And good food.
Good food is there, and yeah.
Hope you will like it.
Yeah, and for any other queries, I guess you can always contact SOIL via emails or contact the admissions team, and they will be happy to help you.
Or you can also get connect to all of us on Facebook or Insta or LinkedIn. So any of the social media platforms, and we will be happy to serve you as best we can.
So I'll be sharing my profile, and people are also sharing their LinkedIn profile. I've already shared my LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
You all can connect it over to me through LinkedIn. And if you have any queries, just give me a call. I'll be more happy to help you all guys, because I know how it feels. Last time, same time this year, last year, I had the same feeling that you guys are having right now. And trust me, I feel you more than what you're feeling, because I entered into it. You still have a chance, and I would prefer you just get into it. That will be a year of your life. That is for me, for sure.
Well, I feel the same.
Yes.
It has been a transformational year.
And you will realize your transformation after 6 months at least.
Yes. It's a holistic development and a big transformational journey. You'll see a lot of difference in yourself.
And one very important thing is you'll get colleagues who will be having 2 years of experience to 8 years of experience, and sometimes even more. You get to learn a lot from people who have more experience, and sometimes a lot from the people that have less experience but a different field. So that will somehow help you enhance your perspective, and along with that, in the entire process, learn a lot.
So let's take up last few questions and we'll be closing it. One of the questions is about, do we are getting corporate finance roles and which company it is and how is the CTC bracket? Yes, we have seen initial period itself. We have seen companies like Orissa, Tesla coming into the campus and offering us corporate finance or business financial analyst roles. And the offering package was from bracket of 9 to 13 lakhs. That's, if I'm not wrong, yeah, 9 to 13 lakhs. And the other companies that are coming is
Tech Mahindra. Today, Accenture was also there for finance students also.
HCL.
ANZ, American,
Australia and New Zealand Bank.
Australia and New Zealand Bank. So we have multiple companies with multiple roles, and when you get into it, every time the companies are also increasing. We have seen recruiters like those who have never recruited from One Year program are recruiting from SOIL. So that is one of the things that we have been focused about the internships. Yeah, so internships, we have this unique program of Light Project where we go for that to the companies for 1 day in a week. It's a complete 6 to 7 months program, and it's a great industry exposure where we get to learn about the company's environment and all. It is differentiable from 2 months of internship because in 2 months you are just done with the company, but this whole program and the company is associated with you. So you get to know you get the project's timely basis. Meanwhile, you are working on your project, you can implement that in your very own subjects as well in the class as also. So internship is a great exposure.
So so one last question: the highest package till now for HRLB program was in Jinpat. It was in the range of 12 to 14 lakhs. And for BLP, including all the specializations, whether it's marketing, analytics, or finance, the highest package till now was in the bracket of 15 to 17 lakhs. So yet the other companies are yet to come. Like today, Accenture came with the highest CTC of 28 lakh. Let's see whoever converts it.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. And reach out to us in case of any issues and queries. We are in short of time, but we'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, we have shared our LinkedIn profiles in the chat box. You can contact with us. I'll reiterate. I am Rohit Duggal, she's Krati, Yash, Ankur, and Tushar.
Bye.
Thank